Welcome to Game Time. I'm your humble host, the Fantasy Typhoon, aka the Mentalist, aka your favorite analyst. Let's go.
It's about to go down in a minute. Let me touch down. I'ma get it. Cause I been waiting all night. It's game time.
Yes, everybody, welcome to Game Time. Once again, I'm your humble host, Fantasy Typhoon, aka the Mentalist, aka your favorite analyst. And tonight on Game Time, we have a special guest, Dr. Edwin Porras. He's going to come on and he's going to kind of navigate us through these injuries. You know, what's wrong with Miles Sanders? What's wrong with Chris Carson? You know, what we doing with Deontay Johnson and so forth and so on. So we're going to tackle all those injuries for you. But first, I just want to give you the itinerary of the show. And thank you for watching. If you're watching on Periscope, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to Periscope. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is for you. This is a community for you. I am on furlough now, so I have time to actually come in, sit down in front of you, take the heat, give you the start sits, redraft, whatever you have. I'm here to answer your question. Look, all I want you is a hoist and a Lombardi at the end of the season. I want you walking around the office with a little strut. I want my league. That is reward for me enough. As you see at the bottom of the screen, I care about your fantasy team. Now, let me just give you a quick recap of what's going on in fantasy right now. Let's take a look. It's at halftime. Score is 16-14. So if you betted, if you bettors out there, Falcons are covering. I think it was 2.5, 2.5, 3.5 point. So Falcons are covering. Let's look. We got Matt Ryan up, 197 and a tub. I'm sorry, and an interception. Excuse me. Teddy Bridgewater, 100 yards and a tub. We got Brian Hill, 7 for 35. Todd Gurley, 5 for 8. We tried to tell you about Todd Gurley. Doctors all across the world told you Todd Gurley is not ready. But Julio Jones is 4 for 85. Ridley, 3 catches for 42. Hayden Hurst, 3 for 37. Gage, 1 for 19. Robbie Anderson is your new wide receiver 1. He is your wide receiver 1. He's starting at the X position. He is overtaking DJ Moore as the wide receiver 1 for the Carolina Panthers under Joe Brady's leadership. And Matt Rule, Robbie Anderson, 3 catches for 36. Curtis Samuel, 2 catches for 32 and a tub. And Samuel, 3 rushes for 23 yards and a tub. So Curtis Samuel right now is leading the way. Mike Davis, one catch for 11 yards. So kind of ask myself, when you see these stats come in, I mean, it's 2 things stand out to me. Look, Julio is timeless. He keeps on ticking. Another sticks out to me. Mike Davis coming right in and picking up right where Christian McCaffrey left off. So is Christian McCaffrey really? I'm sorry. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go there. Out. I'll stop. And number 3, Joe Brady, his offense. These guys are well coached. You can see it. You can see what they're learning in the playbook wise, as far as those Zoom meetings are not only in their head, it's actually translating to the field. That's what you want to see. But if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, you guys have a coach and your system is in place. They get ready to rock and roll. So Carolina Panthers, I see bright skies ahead. Nothing partly cloudy. Now let's get to the main part of the show. Dr. Edwin Porras take time out of his busy schedule to come sit and talk with good old Typhoon here about some injuries. Dr. Porras, welcome to the show, my friend, and I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you having me on, man. This is a good time for me. You got the energy, so I don't need to bring too much energy. I think you got most of it, so I'll just try to keep it textbook, keep it to the nose of the grindstone, man. I'll keep us on track with these injuries. What do you say?
Keep us textbook and keep us on course. We're getting to rock and roll with these injuries that you can see on the ticker below. Let's get right to it, man. You ready?
I'm so
ready. All right, let's get right to it. Miles Sanders, man. I own Miles Sanders. What are we doing with Miles Sanders, man? Is he coming back this week?
So I don't think Miles Sanders is coming back this week. He's gone Wednesday and Thursday without practice. This was reported to be about a 1 to 2 week injury when it initially came out. I think it was Mortensen or Schefter, one of those two dudes that put that out there. When the injury happened, when it occurred, he was getting tackled. He got drugged down. The defender sort of caved his knee in, sort of compressed his knee down, and his knee was really, really bent. Typically what happens when you see that type of mechanism of injury is the cartilage along the inside of the knee bones and the meniscus, they can get damaged. They can get irritated. They can get inflamed. The problem with that is the swelling. Swelling is a huge issue for him. So if he had a meniscus injury like we think he did, then the swelling was probably an issue for him, along with the pain, obviously. So seeing as the Eagles go on by, next week, he didn't play last week. Boston Scott stepped in just fine. They're going to probably sit him this week, considering he hasn't even practiced yet. And I think you can expect to see him back after the bye. Otherwise, if the severity was greater than 3 weeks, they would have just said after it happened, let's get your knee scoped out, man. Let's go get that surgery, because that takes 2 to 4 weeks. They didn't say that. They think that rest is enough. He didn't need the surgery. So I think you'll see him after week 9.
So that's good news, because it could have been a lot worse than what it really looked like, right?
Yes, 100%.
Now, let me ask you a quick question, Doc. Are you the type of person do you have that skill where you can look at the play on the field? If somebody can tell you, all right, Miles Sanders got hurt at 342 in the first quarter, you can go look at that and actually give a pretty much diagnosis on what happened on a player at that time?
So the short answer is yes. The long answer is it depends, because nobody is 100% accurate. We all miss on things. I specifically remember when Tevin Coleman dislocated his shoulder in that playoff game against the Packers last year. Dude, we were all over the board. I saw people saying dislocated radial head, broken wrist. Somebody said like a fractured hand, and then it ended up coming out that it was a shoulder. Nobody really knew what was going on. So those injuries happen where all of us are sort of like, what's going on? So nobody's 100% perfect. But yes, as a physical therapist, our job, we literally get paid to understand the mechanics of how a body works, how every joint works, how they're injured, how you sort of help it heal, how you move it in space. And the athletic injuries that occur on the NFL field are no different than what we go to school for. We learn the biomechanics, we learn the called osteokinematics, how the bones and the joints slide and roll, what it looks like with specific mechanisms of injuries. I mean, that's our jam, man. That's what physical therapists do. So yeah, once you have the skill set of a physical therapist, it's not special to me. Most physical therapists can see something and give you at least an idea of what's going on.
Okay. All right, Doc. Well, let's keep moving on, man. Let's see who we got next. Mark Ingram. Is he playing this week? And if not, when do you see him returning, Doc?
So this is a tough one, right? Because the Ravens are really quiet about their injuries. What you need to know about Mark Ingram is they said he has something funky, like mid to low or low to mid or something, some crap that sounds not accurate. You either have a syndesmosis, that's what it's called. When you have a high ankle sprain, it's called a syndesmosis that gets damaged. You either have a syndesmosis sprain or you don't. There's no such thing as mid to low to whatever. So it sounds like that's what he has. They didn't put him on IR, probably because they had that bye week. So I don't expect him to play this week. And I don't necessarily expect him to play next week quite yet. He hasn't practiced this week yet. And usually you don't see dudes that will just, go from no practice, full practice and play. So you don't typically see that. So yeah, that's where I see Mark Ingram. I could be wrong. I'm never 100% accurate, but that's what it seems like to me right now.
Now the fantasy spin on this, folks, J.K. Dobbins. Woo! That's my man. Gus Edwards. They play Pittsburgh this week. Temper your expectations. Pittsburgh Steelers defense against the run is number 1. So kind of watch yourself, even though we have what we've been waiting for, and not trying to celebrate an injury on any player in the NFL. Please don't take it that way. It's not what I said. But we have been waiting for some sort of window to open so we can see J.K. Dobbins unleashed. We have it, but it's against Pittsburgh. So kind of watch yourself. Come talk to the Typhoon. Let's see if that we can find another alternative for that. Aaron Jones. He missed last week. We got Jamal Williams. He was on my show. He was sitting right where you were. I had Jamal Williams on here, man. We had a good talk. Man, that dude.
Did you really? How'd you get a hold of that guy?
Man, you think I got energy? Man, Jamal Williams is, man, I got to get him back on again.
For sure, man.
Because he gave me a lot of insight of what that offense was going to look at. Well, he gave everybody a lot of insight. And about those, going 21 personnel, himself and Aaron Jones in the backfield, him being motioned out more as to a receiver, which we have seen. So, man, Jamal Williams was wild, but now he's taken over because Aaron Jones missed last week. So, Doc, do we see Aaron Jones this week, or do we have to wait a week?
I think we got to wait, man. Aaron Jones is another one of those dudes that hasn't played or hasn't practiced this week yet. So you're looking at this this study, right? It was done on 27 NFL players. What they found was that the mean, so the average amount of time for all these players to return was about 17 days. Now it gets a little tricky because you have the standard deviations. You said you're a big numbers guy. You said you're that analytics dude, right? You said you watched the film, put the numbers to it, right? So standard deviation, basically what a standard deviation is, for those who don't know, it's you have your average, and the standard deviation tells the full story. If your average is 17, but your standard deviation is 14, what that really means is you take 17 minus 14. It could be 3 days when a player comes back. You also take your average 17 because the standard deviation is still 14. And what's that math for me, Typhoon? Do that math for me. 27 to 31, 32. It could be 32 days because the standard deviation is 14. It could be anywhere. That's why you want a tight standard deviation. This isn't a very tight standard deviation, but we do know that the standard deviation, he's already beyond the 3 days. It's been about 7 days. He got hurt on a Thursday, I think. So basically you're looking at potentially the first time that he has a chance to come back is next week. But if the Packers continue to play it ultra conservative like they did with Devontae Adams, then you might not see the dude for another 2 weeks.
Yeah, that is one thing about Packers. They are a little bit secure with their players. They kind of keep them in bubble wrap just a little bit longer than other organizations from what I've been seeing. So, yeah, you're right. He could be ready to rock and roll, but, they might say, well, hey, we just let's just hold you out one more round. That could be what's happening. But let's see. I own Aaron Jones. I do have Jamal Williams as my backup, so I'm already covered on that. All right, let's get to what I call the trifecta. We got the Carlos Hyde, we got Chris Carson, we got the Travis Homer, all Seattle. If you could tackle that running back situation, if anybody should be available this week, what's your thoughts on that one?
Sorry, you cut out for a second. Who did you ask about?
Oh, I'm sorry. I want to hit that running back trifecta. Chris Carson, Carlos Hyde, and Travis Homer.
The Seattle backup.
Let's go ahead and cover that monster there. What you got for me?
Man, it's a monster. So I'll put it this way. Chris Carson, Carlos Hyde, Travis Homer. None of them have practiced this week. They didn't practice today. None of them are looking to practice tomorrow. I thought in the beginning Travis Homer would have the best chance to practice. I still sort of think he has the best chance to practice tomorrow. But now that you have 2 full days documented they didn't practice, you're not confident in any of them. You're particularly not confident in Chris Carson even playing. He has the same issue Joe Mixon did. I think we'll get to him soon. He's not going to play this week. I'm pretty positive. I've been wrong before, but I'm pretty positive Carson doesn't play. Travis Homer had a bone bruise. If it's as severe as A.J. Brown's, for example, or Damian Williams from last year, you're not going to see Travis Homer. Then you got 30-year-old Carlos Hyde, right? We talked about Julio Jones before we started recording and how he's older. And typically when you're older, these soft tissue hamstring groin issues start to pile up. For a 30-year-old running back who also has shoulder issues, if he does play, I think he has the best chance to play at this point. he's going to be so volatile that I don't even want to use him. I don't even want to use him in like a DFS slot. I know that price tag will probably be pretty tempting, but I don't want to use. I don't think that he's got juice. First of all, if you increase that sample size, and I also just don't think that he's safe, especially if you're in cash games. I'm not trying to play a 30-year-old running back with a hamstring strain that hasn't practiced in 2 days. So I don't know, man. I think it might be time to pick up DJ Dallas if you haven't already. I think this is going under the radar. I think some people think that, well, damn, one of these three got to play, and DJ Dallas might be going under owned.
I know, right? I know folks spent high picks in your dynasty leagues on Rashad Penny. He's yet to practice or even be activated yet, from the IR. So we don't expect to see him, right, Doc?
Nope, not happening.
So he's not coming back. Oh, just got one in, Doc. I got to bring it up, man.
Let's do it.
Parth Patel says Calvin Ridley got hurt. We're doing the show, Patel. I didn't even know. So, man, I'm pretty sure you don't have anything on that. He says he's going to cry. I know that's right. Calvin Ridley is a huge asset to your fantasy leagues. We getting ready to make preparations to kind of wrap up in your leagues to where you can secure that playoff berth. Of course, you want that bye. So, woo. But
yeah, so I'm looking at the play right now, and I don't have a good view, of it right now. Some reports are that it's a Liz Frank or a high ankle, but that's not what it looked like initially to me. But I'll have to get back to you on that one.
That's fine. So, Parth Patel, make sure let me put your handle up here, my friend.
Put me up there.
Make sure you get with Doc at FB Injury Doc. Make sure you get it Doc on that one and keep up with him, and he'll keep you updated on what's going on there with Ridley. All right, let's get back rocking and rolling. Let's see what we got. Travis Homer with Joe Mixon. I think you spoke about Joe Mixon. He has that same midfoot sprain or something as Chris Carson. What's your thoughts on him? Do we see him this week?
No, I don't think we see Mixon, another dude who has not played or practiced this week. I made a mistake earlier this week. I thought so. The official team had him listed as a full participant on Friday last week. He actually wasn't. He didn't practice at all. That was a mistake. So he hasn't practiced. This didn't practice last week. Hasn't practiced this week. It just doesn't look like it's going to happen. It looks like we're going to have another week of Gio Bernard. I think Joe Mixon. Typhoon. When's the Bengals bye?
Bengals bye. Go ahead. Now let me do research and I get back. So
what you need to know about Mixon here is that the average return to play for a grade 2 midfoot sprain, which is what he has, is about 36 weeks. And 36 weeks, 36 days. But that has another wide standard deviation. I think it's about 23 days. Or 26 days or something like that. So it's already been 2 weeks on Mixon. His first chance in reality is going to be probably next week. But even then, given the averages, I'm not entirely confident that he plays at that point too.
He has a bye week 9.
So I think week 10 week 10 might be when you see Mixon for the first time again.
Yeah, so it looks like a lot of folks are going to have a bye week 9. But as you can see, I was just talking with somebody via Twitter a little bit earlier, and they were going over running backs, and they were saying how strong their stable was. But if you look at the show, look what we got: Miles Sanders, Mark Ingram, Aaron Jones, Chris Carson, Carlos Hyde, Travis Homer, Joe Mixon. Next up is Dalvin Cook. So that's just showing you the majority of these injuries are running backs. So you will never have enough stable as far as these running backs are concerned. So if you have a good stable of running backs, make sure you don't trade out trying to fix another position, because you might find yourself in trouble with your running back stable. So I always try to keep my running back stable strong. So that's just a little tip from Typhoon here. Dalvin Cook, man. Are we going to see him this week? He got a juicy matchup. He's one of my top 5 running backs this week.
So at this point, he's practiced. He practiced partially today, and they're easing him back in. So we're going back to the averages for groin strains. I tweeted this earlier today as well at FB Injury Doc, that the average return to play time for athletes after a groin strain is about 14 days, but the median is 18 days for a full return. So he's basically past the average. and he's past the median. So I think you'll see him this week. He's a little volatile. I'd say, simply because, those groin strains and any muscular strain, you're never confident that player is going to be full go. But I mean, you got to start Dalvin Cook. So I think you'll see him this week. If you have him, which I'm playing against him in one of my leagues, so I'm nervous about that. But if you have him, you got to go with him.
Yeah, you got to fire Dalvin Cook up this week. In my projections, he has a plus 20. That's my algorithm, but I'll let you guys know on that a little bit later. But he has a plus 20, which is huge as far as the differential that my algorithm gives me as far as his advantage for him to have a good week this week. Get Dalvin Cook in your lineups. Hear me now. Thank me later. But I didn't have to tell you to start Dalvin Cook anyway, right? Let's see what we got next. We got Travis Homer, Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook. Oh, my man Deontay Johnson. He just said Claypool. Ugh, that's mine. So will we see Deontay on the field against the Ravens?
I think you will. I think you'll see Deontay. His ankle injury wasn't very severe. He wasn't even listed on the injury report with an ankle injury. He actually didn't practice on Thursday with the toe issue that he's been battling most of the year. And since he's usually rested on Thursdays, and this is a usual injury that he's had, I don't expect anything crazy to happen. I think he's going to play, and I think you'll see him pretty close to full speed.
Okay, great. Want to see him up to full speed, man. Really do. Let's see what we got next. Let's see. Allen Robinson. Now he's in that concussion protocol, so that's kind of pretty much that figures itself out. But Doc, let us know about Allen Robinson concussion and Andy Dalton. Well, not Andy. You don't have to let us know about Andy Dalton, but kind of let us know about the concussion protocol. Kind of let us in on concussion. So we got Brandon Cooks out there with so many concussions. So what about concussion, do we need to know about?
So what you need to know is that a pretty late study, so it's from 2002 to 2007, showed that I think 78% of players who had a concussion actually missed less than 7 days. That was before the new concussion protocol. That was before the NFL came under fire. Just based off of my own observation in doing this and some of those numbers, I think that number still hovers above 50 to 60%. So I think this is Allen Robinson's first concussion that's documented. So that helps him. I think that he'll be back. I think that overall, in general, these players tend to come back. It's not like a knee sprain where okay, you're done on Thursday. You can't move on Thursday. It means you can't move on Friday, which means you probably can't move on Sunday. These brain injuries, because that's what they are, is brain injuries, they're different. The players have to pass a certain threshold of, okay, what's your balance like? Can you remember this number? What can you run without symptoms? Are you able to jog and you don't get a headache? All those, these are all, and every day it resets. If today he jogged and didn't get symptoms, or let's say Wednesday he jogged and didn't get symptoms, and then Thursday came around, he jogged and he got symptoms, then they shut it back down and he starts all over. So it's a totally different ball game when it comes to these concussions and protocols. But again, to wrap it up, sort of these players that have only one documented concussion, they have a better chance of coming back within 7 days compared to players who have 2, 3, 4 concussions.
So Jordan Reed, if he got a concussion, it would be pretty strong for him to get back, right?
Man, I just hope that doesn't happen.
I know, right? I know. From looking at the research, I know we didn't have Andy Dalton scheduled, but I think they're going with the backup. So temper your expectations there. I am a Dallas Cowboy fan, and I need somebody to shoulder the crown this year. But
yikes,
we'll save that. Do you have a favorite team, Doc?
Seattle, man. They just got robbed in Arizona.
Oh man. What was the defense jumped over the extra point rule.
Oh my God, I know.
The field goal rule or some kind of rule, the kick rule or something. He jumped over and they gave him a first down. That was it.
Yeah, man. It was not pretty to watch. It's not pretty. After the DK Metcalf chase down, it pretty much all was downhill from there.
Oh my God, that was insane. That was insane. But now you got Shanahan in that outside zone coming. You're trying to beef up for it with Carlos Dunlap, but we'll get him on the field a little bit later. All right, Doc. Two more, and we go ahead and let you go on about your business. Jamison Crowder, New York Jets. He's up against Patrick Mahomes and the crew.
Just Patrick Mahomes, right?
Yeah, just Patrick. That's it.
So Jamison Crowder, right? He's got, I think it was, God, man, I haven't even looked at Jamison Crowder, to be honest with you. Okay, yeah, he's got a groin injury. Excuse me. So considering that he's a limited practice today, but he didn't practice on Wednesday, I'm not totally confident he's going to play quite yet. And if he does, he's pretty volatile, I'd say. But considering that this injury happened, God, was it in week 6 initially, or was it between week 6 and week 7? It seems like this guy's always struggling with some sort of soft tissue strain, some muscular strain. So it happened sometime between week 6 and week 7, I think during practice. And he's still under that sort of, or he's right at the cusp of those averages we talked about with Dalvin Cook. And so he's at the 14-day average, but the median is 18 days. So will we see Jamison Crowder? Maybe. I'd say right now we're about a 50% chance.
Oh, okay. Rashad Perriman is in that concussion protocol. Great insight on those concussions, Doc. I didn't know they started over. Thank you. That. Now, if you could, you gave out some great dynasty information as far as Julio Jones is concerned to me when we were in the green room, like you said before we started recording. Please, if you could, kind of give a replay and share it to the audience, kind of things on Julio Jones.
Yeah, man. So he's 31 years old. The only receivers older than him are Julian Edelman, Emmanuel Sanders. I don't even think Emmanuel Sanders. I think it's Julian Edelman. I think it's Ted Ginn. I think it's Danny Amendola. And I think those dudes are the only dudes that are older than Julio Jones, maybe AJ Green. So you're looking at this unprecedented receiver, this unprecedented beast who has been performing year after year after year. And this year specifically, I said he's 31 years old. He's got hamstring strains. It followed him since the preseason to week 4 or 5. We saw what happened against the Packers. I was just out on this guy, man. And then he goes out last week, has a massive week, comes back tonight. I think so far last time I checked, he had like 12 points already in a half PPR league that I was in. So, man, he's tearing it up. He is an anomaly. He's from a dynasty perspective. Of course, he's one of those dudes that if you want to win now, you have him. But even if you're like on the cusp, I don't think you're getting rid of him necessarily because he can change. He can swing a few games for you. So I think that we'll see sort of a fall off in Julio Jones relatively soon. It's not obviously normal for a receiver, even of Julio Jones caliber, to play until he's 32, 33, 34, putting up the numbers that he does. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Julio, but I wouldn't necessarily bank on it, right? So I don't know. He's one of those guys that's just every time he's on the injury report, you have to start him if he's active. You just have to wait, you know? So yeah, the only times that I faded him were the Packers game and the game. So he didn't play after the Packers game, but the Packers game, that was the only time that I was confident in like, hey, this is not looking good. I don't want to use him. So I was telling the Fantasy Point subscribers to avoid Julio Jones that week.
Okay. Yeah, he has 4 for 85, which is 12.5 points. So you right on point, Doc. Comment came in. It's Parth Patel again. He's saying he already follows you on Twitter, my man.
That's great. Good, man. I appreciate it.
Said he's already rocking and rolling with you, Doc.
Beautiful.
But look, Doc, any last words you have, man, for the folks? You want to kind of sorry, man, I didn't give you a really chance to kind of explain yourself and what you got in the oven, what you're working for, you know, things you're doing. I apologize, man. So if you could, go ahead, man, and kind of tell the folks what you're doing, where they can find you, and all this and that.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. This is fun. This is always a fun time.
Yes.
So go to Twitter, follow me at FB Injury Doc. Go to my podcast, the Injury Prone Fantasy Football Podcast, brought to you by Fantasy Points, and find all my stuff, all my full written analysis. Every week we do the injury roundup, and then I do the injury preview at fantasypoints.com. Use the code Porras10 to get a 10% discount there. Other than that, man, send me all your. I love talking about food and tacos, and people think that people have arguments about tacos. So you can send me that stuff on Twitter, and we can chat about it. We can chat about tacos, Doc. I'm all about it.
don't be surprised if you get a knock at the door, man. It's a taco man at your house. Compliments of Fantasy Typhoon for coming on the show, man. I might have the taco man, deliver you some tacos.
Hell yeah.
Uber Eats. I might have Uber Eats top 5 something. Yeah, man.
Appreciate you, man.
But look, yeah, Doc, appreciate you. If I could get you back on sometime in the future, is it okay?
You got my DM, man. You're all over it.
Keep it up Thursday night. We tried to plan this kind of for halftime, to kind of keep you guys so you can stay glued on your game. I know how it is. I don't want to miss a play either. But thank you, Doc. I appreciate you, man. We gone. All right, folks, we can ready to wrap it up here. Let's get back to the fantasy aspect of this. Let's see. Hold on. I gotta learn how to work this thing.
You want me to just close it?
Oh, there it is. No, it's fine, Doc. Let's see. Matt Ryan. Let's see what score. 16-14. Matt Ryan is at 220. An interception. Teddy Bridgewater is at 106 and a tub. Todd Gurley, 6 carries. Oh, there it is. Update. 7 carries for 16 yards. Wow. That's a 1.6. And your fantasy, boy, I know you are fussing. Matter of fact, they just adjusted it. It's 15 yards. And his long was 11. Mike Davis, 10 for 42. Curtis Samuel, 3 for 23 in the tub. Julio, 5 for 108. That's what, if you got extra in my league, if you had the 2-point bonus when they go over 100, that's 1208 plus the 5 is 1708. He hasn't even scored a tub yet, so that's good. Calvin Ridley, he's out. Doc kind of went over that a little bit. We kind of discussed that. So if you missed it, just go ahead and hit rewind or hit replay, kind of see what Doc kind of said. He touched it just a little bit. 3 catches for 42 yards. Hayden Hurst, 3 for 37. Russell Gage, that waiver wire darling, 1 for 19. Robbie Anderson, 4 for 40. That's 8 fantasy points. Curtis Samuel, 2 for 32. Here's this just in. DJ Moore does not have a catch. I repeat, DJ Moore does not have a catch, folks. This has been the Game Time. Thank you for participating in Game Time. Thank you for watching. Injury update Game Time. Every Thursday, I have injury update. I have numerous doctors that will come in and out of the show. You just witnessed Dr. Edwin Porras was nice enough to come by and lend his medical advice and give us concussions and give us those minor soft tissue injuries and give us update on how to prepare for those things. So when we read them, have a better understanding of what's happening as far as what's happening there. All right, folks. That's it. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. I'll give you my top 5 at every position. Top 5 running backs, top 5 wide receivers, top 5 tight ends, top 5 quarterbacks. Remember, this show is for you. Questions are welcome. We go.
It's about to go down in a minute. Let me touch down. I'ma get it. 'Cause I been waiting all night. It's game time.